to all rise. Say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to skip the formalities of the meeting. We'll cover the old business, new business during the evening session. So this morning we can just focus on the budget presentations. So if we can move right along, Snug Harbor is going first. Yes, please, if you can just give them out to all the members, and then we'll make sure that the ones that aren't here are getting them. Well, CB1 had said they were going to be a little late. I don't know if you want to take the mic and stand, or you want to do it from where you're sitting, or whatever you feel more comfortable.
I would feel more comfortable doing it from where I'm sitting. If you want me to be on mic, I can do that.
Just that's great.
Good morning, members of the Borough Board and community leaders. My name is Kirsten Swanson, Director of Development of Snug Harbor Cultural Center and Botanical Garden. I'm here representing all 5 cultural institution groups on Staten Island. On behalf of Snug Harbor Cultural Center and Botanical Gardens, the Staten Island Museum, the Staten Island Children's Museum, Historic Richmond Town, and the Staten Island Zoo, we would like to thank you for this opportunity to testify in support of Staten Island's great cultural institutions. The Staten Island CIGs represent the best of our cultural offerings in the borough. Snug Harbor's mission is to provide a vibrant regional cultural destination that offers dynamic programming in the arts, education, horticulture, agriculture, and recreation for diverse cultures of all ages, while ensuring a well-managed campus for all stakeholders. On our 83-acre campus, we are home to multiple community-based arts groups, artists, not-for-profits, and several large arts institutions, including 2 CIG members, the Staten Island Museum and the Staten Island Children's Museum. Collectively, our campus receives over 500,000 visitors per year. The Staten Island Museum, which recently completed an expansion on Snug Harbor's campus, is one of the last intact examples of the first type of public museum in America, focusing on engaging visitors with interdisciplinary exhibitions and educational programs that explore the dynamic connections between natural science, art, and history based on its diverse collections. The Staten Island Museum, which has been called a mini Smithsonian because of the breadth of its collections, serves over 219,000 visitors annually, including 12,000 school children. Another vital cultural partner on Snug Harbor's campus is the Staten Island Children's Museum, which houses 9 hands-on interactive exhibits that are designed to give children first-hand knowledge of the world. They include cooperative as well as independent learning experiences, fine and gross motor activities, and work on multiple levels to accommodate significant variations in developmental and cognitive skills within our audience. In FY 2015, the Staten Island Children's Museum hosted over 1,000 class visits, served 39,000 school children, both in school and at the museum, celebrated 350 children's birthday parties, and provided free access to over 40,000 people from all 5 boroughs. Off-campus, yet equally integral to the economic development and cultural vitality of Staten Island are the Staten Island Zoo and Historic Richmond Town. The Staten Island Zoo is in the 80th year of its service to the community. Through educational programming, recreation, and a naturalistic setting for its living collection, the Staten Island Zoo disseminates knowledge of zoology and appreciation of animal life to over 190,000 visitors. Historic Richmond Town embodies the glory of the American experience and serves as New York City's living history town and museum complex. Over 30 original historic structures rest on 100 acres. 125,000 visitors and over 30 school children visit this unique historic site and embrace the civic, commercial and domestic life of America's forefathers. Even though each individual Staten Island CIG is unique in name, vision, and mission, we are here today united in our message about the many positive impacts we have on the local economy and on the quality of life of Staten Island. Staten Island CIGs touched almost 900,000 lives and served in 2014 and served as a critical cultural and educational resource to over 125,000 school children annually. We also serve as economic catalysts for the city because we employ over 200 people, approximately 70% of whom are dedicated Staten Islanders. The CIG, though not an official city agency, provides an important and valuable extension of city services. This is clearly seen in the unprecedented success of IVNYC municipal ID cards. The CIG's participation brought value and desirability to this program and to the residents of New York City. Underrepresented New Yorkers now have access to our programs and events, and underserved communities benefit from exposure to arts and culture. Our institutions serve as extensions to our New York City schools in the CASA and Urban Adventures programs. As well, the CIGs have been sitting at the table discussing our role in the development and growth of the Staten Island waterfront. As you stroll the grounds of Snug Harbor Cultural Center and Botanical Garden, tour the exhibits at our museums, meet the animals at the zoo, or absorb living history at Richmond Town, you will hear the diverse languages and accents of tourists and visitors. We bring tourists off the boat and deep into our cultural communities. We offer free admission for families with children enrolled in universal pre-K, foster families, and military families. We are all striving to be reflective of the communities we serve and to continue to work collaboratively by offering diverse programming, events, and opportunities for all New Yorkers. The successful partnership we have with the city is dependent on city funding for basic functions and operations. Increasing healthcare costs and contractually obligated benefit increases coupled with stagnant wages is creating a difficult situation for the CIGs. Funders and private supporters want to fund programs with measurable results, not contribute to operating support and salaries. Minimum wage is proposed to increase to $15 per hour in New York City. We need to ensure our ability to provide comparable and competitive starting wages and to offer decent, respected working opportunities for all New Yorkers so we continue to best serve the community. Our collaborative efforts have yielded high results, and we hope that with your help, our efforts can continue to positively impact the quality of life of Staten Island residents. It is important to recognize that the Staten Island CIGs are vital resources that provide essential services to Staten Island families and tourists every single day. We want to continue to expand our offerings and services to Staten Island and the larger New York City cultural community, as well as continue to provide employment and career opportunities at fair wages to Staten Islanders and all New Yorkers. Again, I would like to thank you for your time and consideration today. Your support in the past has enabled us to keep our facilities open, Staten Islanders employed, and our programs sustained. More importantly, the Staten Island CIGs are working together to assist one another in delivering our missions and keeping one another sustainable. But we simply can't do this alone, and we hope that you can help us carry our mission that all Staten Island deserves: access to culture, nature, education, and history. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Is there any specific collective ask, an increase in the city CIG allocation? Because I don't see that in this testimony.
I don't have any more information than what's in the testimony.
I know you don't have access yet to the cap share system, but I know that they all have submitted ask in the system, so I can send you a list of what it is until you get access so that you can say, you too, Angela.
We should have it now. We had our training.
Oh, you had your training?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you should be able to get it. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Next.
Next, we have the Staten Island Philharmonic.
They are not here yet.
Yes,
Okay.
so we'll jump next to the
Thank you so much. Our bottom sitting plan.
everybody. My name is Meg Trudeau, and I'm the director of the Jacques Marchais Museum of Tibetan Art. And for those of you that don't know, Jacques Marchais was an American woman and not a French man. The museum was founded in 1945, so we are thrilled that we just celebrated our 70th anniversary. And it was founded to foster a greater understanding and appreciation of Tibetan art and culture. The museum's founder amassed a fine collection of Tibetan and Himalayan art and used the property on her Lighthouse Hill estate to build a replica of a small Himalayan mountain monastery. In 2009, the site was listed on both the New York State and National Register of Historic Places. The museum presents a historic display as well as temporary changing exhibitions. The museum also presents an ongoing calendar of public events, including lectures, films, Tai Chi classes, and school visits. We welcome approximately 5,000 visitors per year, and many of our visitors are tourists from Europe, Asia, and South America. For the February 12th due date application, the museum submitted a request for capital funds to the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, and we are requesting $500,000, with the breakdown being a $200,000 request to Department of Cultural Affairs, $100,000 to the Borough President, and $200,000 combined to the Staten Island City Council delegation. Last year, the Borough President allocated $100,000 toward this request, and we have submitted the same scope of work as last year. I have detailed in this proposal the scope of work so that everybody can see it without going into too many of the intimate details. The capital project supports the museum's mission and activities of our strategic plan, which include restoring and preservation of the historic site, make the space more available to present additional artifacts, enhancing the visitor experience, and expanding programmatical and educational experiences. And what I didn't include in this is that all of the work that we had planned is paving the way for us to make the museum accessible, because we are not compliant with ADA right now, and I think we have a little bit of a grandfather because we are such an old building, but we are in the process of preparing some spaces that can be made accessible to the public. Most of the work includes remediating the water issues. The museum is built on a hill, and we suffer a lot of drainage problems because we're built into the ground. And then other upgrades include electrical upgrades, window repair, roof repair, and adding additional railings and expanding unused space on property. We have so far received in funding a CCAP grant from Assemblyman Cusick for $125,000. We have received a New York State Education Department grant from Senator Savino for the technology upgrades that are part of this project. And as I mentioned before, the Borough President's Office committed $100,000 last year. We've done some work on our own to make this project get it kind of kicked off, and we continue to do so with what limited resources that we have. So thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. I have a quick question. So we had spoken about this briefly, that DCA has elevated the cost of this project tremendously. So I was a little shocked when I went into the system and I seen that you weren't asking. Are you going to like try and phase?
Yes, we're going to try to phase.
All right, so this is phase one.
This is phase one, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That was what we were also told to do by DCA.
Yeah, they did. I was just shocked at the phases, that it was as reasonably priced. I thought like maybe it would be divided in half the cost or something.
No, I think we're going to just try to stage it.
Okay.
And phase it out. And then just the other thing, on April 29th, the Sakya Truzen, who is the head of the Sakya lineage of Tibetan Buddhism, will be visiting the museum. There are invitations attached to everybody's testimony, so we hope to see you at the museum on April 29th. Thank you.
Thank you. Does any other members of the board have questions? Yeah. Okay, thank you, Meg.
Next, we have Meals on Wheels.
Joe?
Oh, okay, well, thank you for this opportunity to address members of the Borough Board, representing our Borough President, our City Council representatives, and our community boards. I'm not necessarily going to follow my script here, so let's keep some level of just first of all, thank you for the opportunity to describe the status of our plans to develop 1 3/4 acres on the campus of Seaview Hospital Rehabilitation Center and Home, in order for us to build a new Meals on Wheels of Staten Island facility that will include a state-of-the-art kitchen, our offices, and support staff, and also support our delivery capabilities as we depend heavily on traffic of food delivery and then about food leaving our kitchen, utilizing our hotshot vehicles and our volunteers. We've had a momentous 2015 year where we saw significant, although sometimes slow, rate of obtaining approvals and goals bringing us closer to actual groundbreaking of our facility. The Landmarks Preservation Commission's requirements for our architect to change the exterior appearance of the original design, City Planning Commission, the Farm Environmental Protection, Farm Buildings, etc. All we've gone through this process, and we're close actually, and we're at a point where hopefully, where our architect right now is issuing an RFP for GCs, and we'll have a general contractor in place, and hopefully we're actually breaking ground early this spring. So it's been a long haul, and I certainly want to recognize recognize appreciation to our borough president and our city council representatives to the support that we received in prior requests and the request that we submitted for capital grants again this year. And I've spoken to all of you about that individually, and it becomes a very important part as we move forward in our building campaign. We're also not stopping there. Certainly we've had successful outreach to our local Staten Island-based foundations. We have still in the midst of a capital campaign across our communities, the corporate community, business community, individuals in support of our campaign, while of course we continue to do fundraising for our regular daily operations. That fundraising is important because we have always overserved our contract. We've maintained our commitment at Meals on Wheels, never to have a waiting list to serve all in need. And although it's a noble commitment, it does pressure our ability to maintain that level of service. We're bursting at the seams in Fort Richmond, but we will maintain that commitment to serve all in need. We're in a building right now that was constructed, a kitchen constructed to handle capacity 500 to 600 recipients. Our current census now is over 1,200. With a daily attrition rate of reasons where people may not be getting meals from day to day, we're serving over 1,000 people a day, and 2 meals going out every day. By a little bit later this morning, all 2,000 meals will have left our kitchen on the road for delivery to all corners of the island. And for the sake of our community representatives, our community boards, and our city council reps, my analysis, every time I do an analysis of our census, we're pretty much divided into the three community districts of the island, 3 council districts. The first vehicle that leaves the first truck that leaves our kitchen every morning leaves with over 200 meals going out to St. Mark's Methodist in Pleasant Plains, where 18 volunteers meet that truck and do deliveries from Great Hills up to Tottenville. Another truck takes on a load and meets volunteers mid-island, and other volunteers come to our Fort Richmond site. By the way, Fort Richmond, I always like to add that kitchen is an important part of our future. I consider it part of our campaign, because after we build and move into our new kitchen facility at Seaview, our Fort Richmond site is going to be the site where we'll be able to do, I believe, significant other types of contracts, training, incubator programs, other contract opportunities, food-related. Historical note, Seaview originated at Seaview in 1972. It was a pilot program out of the Seaview Food Service Department. Food was prepared there and delivered. It grew into several other hospitals, the old Richmond Memorial Hospital, Bailey Seton, Salem Hospital, sites where food was prepared and delivered. Eventually, we of course opened up our own kitchen and prepared meals at our own site over all these years. The significance of our roots is that from the very beginning, because we came out of clinical settings, hospital, nursing home settings, our history from the beginning was to be able to prepare meals in response to people's individual dietary requirements, people with diabetes, renal disease, allergies, people needed pureed meals, chopped meals, meals responsive to medication interactions such as tuberculosis issues. So we've maintained that standard of service, We're unique in the city in that respect. We're unique in the city that we're the only program that does 2 meals a day. We're unique in the city that we partner with 20 of our local agencies that provide services to developmentally disabled. They help us with delivery, they help with in our kitchen, beautiful win-win relationship we have with those organizations. We get valuable service, they're providing valuable activity for the consumers, and not a penny's pass between us. The time is right for us. We have population projections for city planning that the older adult population will double between the years 2000 and 2030. I'd like to point out that our current average age is 84. Huge number of people in their 90s, a handful of people over 100. That average age, 84, the beginning baby boomers, those 1946 babies, my older brother, will reach our average age in 2030. So the beginning baby boomers reach what our current average age is. So I'm looking at anticipating census growth through this decade, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, and we'll be ready for the millennials in 2060. So this facility, I think, is going to carry the home delivered meal services well into the good part of the century, the rest of the century. Location is right, centrally located at Seaview, enables easy access to the South Shore, Mid-Island, and North Shore. Certainly Seaview, at the encouragement of Borough President, is being presented as a health and wellness campus, and it's good to be part of that site. So, questions?
I just have one quick one. You said that going before landmarks, it made some changes. I assume those changes resulted in additional cost?
Over $1.25 million to change the exterior design and to put cobblestones on the ground instead of pavement.
We don't have cobblestones.
Cobblestones, yes. Which, all that together, added over $1.25 million. Also, it did not impact terribly on the interior design. Certainly we had designed with a lot of involvement of our chef and kitchen design people in terms of our refrigeration, our freezers, ovens, kettles, etc. What we did add to our design is adding our own kosher kitchen facility in the building. We've always been dependent upon a subcontracting community for kosher meals, but we felt in consult with the rabbi that oversees this type of project that we could have better quality control ourselves in our own building, and that also added to some of our costs.
Anybody else?
I just want to thank you for your excellent communication through this process. You've kept us up to date, you call, you send letters, and so, you know, we are already very, very familiar with the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Oh, yeah. March for Meals, March 23rd. We're part of the national recognition of Meals on Wheels programs throughout the country. So we'll be at the Region 10 courthouse, and if you can make that, please let us know. Happy to have you with us.
Thank you.
Next to the Alice Austin.
Whenever you're ready.
Good morning, I'm Janice Mulker. I'm the Executive Director of the Alice Austin House Museum here on Staten Island. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. The Alice Austin House is dedicated to early American photographer Alice Austin, and we're also a historic national New York City landmark on the waterfront of Staten Island. I hope you all have been there. We also, on behalf of the board and staff, thank you to the City Council and to our President for the past support that you've given us that has brought us so far. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit. First of all, I'll tell you our updated mission statement that we developed in the past year. So the Alice Austin House fosters creative expression, explores personal identity, and educates and inspires the public through the interpretation of the photographs, life, and historic home of pioneering American photographer Alice Austin, whose dates are 1866 to 1952. And this is a big year for Alice Austin. It is her 150th birthday, will happen on March 17th, actually, St. Patty's Day, which is when she was born. So it's the sesquicentennial year for us this year, and we're very excited. We have a lot of programming planned, and that's what the requests are. But overall, the museum presents exhibitions of Alice Austin's work and of contemporary artists, maintains a collection of Austin's photographs and objects in her home, provides tours of her historic home, and it offers a variety of education and public programs inspired by her story. We welcome 17,000 visitors per year, although I think that's going to stretch closer to 28,000 this year. And each year we also serve approximately 60 schools and 2,500 students and teachers, predominantly on Staten Island. So that is what our request to each of the city council members this year was, and also to the Staten Island delegation, we're requesting respectfully $7,500 for Staten Island students to learn about women's history through the story and photography of early American photographer Alice Austin. So we did submit the centralized application for that, and that's what I wanted to speak to you about today. With designated funds from the delegation and council members, trained museum educators will offer a 45-minute in-school program about women's history for 2nd and 8th grade public school students at 12 schools. And those grades, this touches upon the curriculum that they're learning in the schools, so it enhances that programming through this kind of primary source material. 2nd graders will be introduced to Alice Austin as a modern woman of the Victorian era who pursued photography and many other activities like tennis and bicycling that were unconventional to women over time. Students will analyze Austin's photographs and discuss pertinent women's history themes. 8th grade students will explore topics pertaining to their history curriculum. Their program is called History Through the Lens of Women Photographers. So they'll look at Alice Austin's work, but also other work by notable early women photographers such as Dorothea Lange, Margaret Borg White, and Frances Benjamin Johnston. So $7,500 would allow the Alice Austin House to serve 350 students at 12 schools on Staten Island, and that is scalable if necessary at the cost of $625 per class. So that is the request to the delegation. Separately, I included, I've never done this before, so I wasn't sure how to structure this, but to the borough president, we're respectfully requesting $4,000 in FY17 funding, and that would be to support a large-scale community celebration for Alice Austin's 150th birthday. That would be held in July. And Alice Austin's 150th birthday community festival will be an open house style public celebration on the waterfront lawn of the Alice Austin House, which is the museum dedicated to preserving Alice Austin's legacy. The 4-hour afternoon event will feature family activities and games, museum tours, food and drink, and live music by local musicians. The specific request, we'd like to do something extra this year in honor of this milestone birthday for Alice Austin, and what we'd like to do and what Borough President funds would enable us to do is actually offer professional family portraits as part of this event. So we would have professional photographers come and take family portraits of attendees, and we would offer them at that time an 8x10 print to take home with them, but we can also email a digital file that then people could use. And I think this is something that's very in line with our mission. It also utilizes the wonderful waterfront historic site that we have. We can have the beautiful backdrop of the Verrazano Bridge or the historic house, and have something that Staten Islanders can be really proud of, and hopefully provides access to maybe a service that they can't otherwise have. So we would expect to provide approximately 200 free family portraits during that community festival. And this funding request would also include marketing and promotion of the event to make sure that people know about it. We have done this the past couple summers in different iterations, and in 2014 with the direct mail campaign, we had 600 attendees on that day. So we would expect attendance of 600 to 750 people for the festival. So we really like to celebrate this prominent historic Staten Islander, and we hope that the Borough President's Office will, and the board will partner with us to do that, which would allow us to offer something really special. I'd like to just provide a couple updates quickly about overall things that we're doing. We did submit a Department of Cultural Affairs request this year. This is an application that goes to panel and is for 3 years of multi-year funding, so that $50,000 that would happen over the course of 3 years, so we'll find out about that. I also want to thank especially Councilmember Rose, but we do have some other specialized funding streams through CASA, Cultural After School Activities, Coalition of Theaters of Color, and Cultural Immigrant Initiatives this year, so we're doing a lot. We do have capital projects in various stages. That's unfortunately still awaiting our FEMA repairs. You know, the house is owned by the Parks Department, and we have a license agreement to operate the house, so we're working with Parks to ensure that that still happens. But we are nearly 4 years later, so we're hoping that that can actually be scheduled soon. It will be going through to procurement soon, but that still means probably 9 months of that. We do have an exterior lighting plan to help with security, and there's an allocation through Councilmember Rose for visitor parking lot, and there will be a scoping meeting happening soon, so I'm happy to talk to more to Community Board 1 about that, and Nicholas is aware of that too. So, 2 major things this month. We're opening on March 12th, the Staten Island Triennial of Photography. We established the inaugural photography triennial for Staten Island. The intent is to then offer this every 3 years. An open call to photographers was issued at the end of 2015. We have 200 entries. There are 35 artists in the show, and predominantly they're Staten Islanders. We also opened it up to others in other parts of the city looking at the borough. So there are some photographers from Manhattan and Brooklyn, kind of the outsider look. It's a really wonderful exhibition. I guarantee there's work you haven't seen before, and I hope you will all come and see that. It'll be on view through the end of August as well. And I'm very, very proud. We just announced officially yesterday, the Alice Austin House is partnering with the Whitney Museum of American Art to present a public program. It's a scholars roundtable discussion on Thursday, March 31st at 7 p.m. And that is a culminating project from a National Endowment for the Humanities grant that we got. But we're just extremely thrilled to have this opportunity to bring awareness to Alice Austin's work and the museum at a major institution in Manhattan, and we see that as a very good sign. And now we want to pack the house to show them that, you know, there is interest. So I will get the invitations to you all, and I hope you can join us. So we're really excited. It's going to be a thrilling year, and thank you so much for your consideration today.
Any questions? No? All right, we're going to have to talk at a different time about your request, because you know we can only purchase goods and things like that, so it's a little different than the council.
Yeah.
So we can
I think we're okay, though, but I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Okay,
great.
Thank you.
Great.
Next, we have Community Board 1. You can go there if you got some time. I will take care of it. Wait for change. This will be copies for everyone else for the folders to get.
Okay. Okay.
Wait a minute.
All right, Tony, do you want to go over to the mic? You could sit, stand, however you're most comfortable.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, Tom.
Community Board 1 would first like to thank you for providing capital funding to improve our neighborhoods, parks, and for providing asphalt to pave our streets, and for working with Deputy Majority Leader Rose and Commissioner Garcia to provide the wherewithal to move the District 1 garage from a residential community into a location better suited to that kind of facility. Community Board 1 represents Staten Island's North Shore and has been a tireless advocate for improving the quality of life of our residents, increasing affordable housing, improving senior services, expanding youth services, adding needed school seats, improving the transportation system and mass transit system, and developing our waterfront. More than 15 years ago, we asked that the New York City Economic Development Corporation locate the National White Hat Museum at the former Coast Guard base adjacent to the ferry terminal. Years later, we support the additional development of the Side Park Triangle equities. We requested and support the release of the RFP for the former home port, which is now being developed by Ernst State Intelligent Corporation. We support the release of the Stabletham Municipal Parking Lot to be developed as the Rail, a multi-story residential building with a retail base. We support the St. George rezoning to allow both the construction of our newly completed courthouses along with the new mixed-use development that will bring new life to St. George. We support the release of the New York City EDC's request for expressions of interest that led to the development of the New York Wheel. We urge that the request include both a retail component and a nexus with Bay Street. Both were heated, and as a result, the Empire outlets are now emerging alongside the New York Wheel. These two projects will inject tens of millions of tourist dollars into the North Shore of Staten Island. Mindful of the potential impact of these large-scale developments on our local, already overburdened infrastructure, CB1 then helped negotiate the ULERP provisions that will provide for traffic amelioration, job development, and water's edge improvements. As you can see, Community Board 1 takes its responsibility as a planning board very seriously, and consistent with that focus, we have identified several budget priorities that we believe are necessary to both protect the essence of the North Shore and ensure that the oncoming development is adequately supported by local infrastructure suited to the task. Replace Cromwell Center, Old Alliance Pool. Since 1934, Cromwell Recreation Center has been a locus of the recreational activities for tens of thousands of young people and adults alike. Its facilities, which included basketball courts, a boxing ring, fitness areas, and space for after-school activities, were ideally situated along the routes of countless bus lines and SIRT. People from throughout the borough were able to run, play, box, or work out at Cromwell, but no more. Its absence from the community has robbed the North Shore of what our Senate delegation has described as a vitally necessary community resource. Consequently, we ask that the New York City Parks Department add to its capital budget the rebuilding of the Cromwell Center Old Alliance Pool as a fully funded project. It has been several years since demolition, and as the largest and most heavily used park facility on Staten Island, its absence has been diminished greatly. Its absence has greatly diminished recreational resources, not only the North Shore community, but also the entire borough. Increase the Borough of Staten Island's baseline budget for the Department of Parks and Recreation. Community Board 1 has consistently asked for a baseline budget of $100 million be applied to the budget of the Department of Parks and Recreation on Staten Island. This request is driven by the need to obviate dealing with a consistent response of seeking councilmanic or borough presidential funds for items that should be handled through the normal city agency borough distribution, thus depriving the BP and the council of funding of the needed items. Fund a professional study of the circulation of the public areas of St. George, a ferry terminal to provide visitors easy access to Lighthouse Point and the waterfront beyond. Community Board 1 has been a strong proponent of correcting the circulation of the St. George Ferry Terminal and the ferry maintenance facility. We are asking you to fund a professional study that will help to create a walkway to provide visitors with a safe and visually attractive path from the ferry to the Lighthouse Point. Currently, visitors must traverse a dingy, dark walkway that leads them through a dangerous parking lot in a series of fenced-off regular work areas in order to connect with Lighthouse Point, a $250 million privately funded project. the success of which will depend heavily on its retail component. Staten Island Ferry is an icon known around the world, similar to the Grand Central Station. The Staten Island Ferry should provide visitors with a world-class experience when they traverse the property, not only within the terminal, but any space which is open to the public. For the projects adjacent to the terminal to be truly successful, visitors must be visually drawn to them, feel safe to make the trip. This will reconfigure the Kiss Ride Ferry Maintenance Facility parking lot, funding a professional circulation study. It is the first step in what will ultimately make the difference in the success of Lighthouse Point, Navy Pier, and other waterfront projects south of the St. George Ferry Terminal. Funding for the creation of the Greenway Trail to connect pedestrians, cyclists, and rapid transit to the projects along the waterfront. In order for the $1 billion in private investment projects along the waterfront to be successful, pedestrians, cyclists, and rapid transit must be able to access them from the St. George Ferry Terminal, which will be the central point of arrival. Several years ago, Community Board 1 created and introduced a phased outline of such a trail from Fort Wadsworth to the Bayonne Bridge, which we titled the North Shore Waterfront Greenway. 3 phases of the trail: Blissenbach Marina Park, now called Heritage Park, and the plazas of Van Pelt and Main Avenues have already been funded. We now ask you to support our request to fund a study and create a comprehensive plan for the rest of the trail so that visitors coming over the ferry can easily access the above-mentioned projects either by foot, bicycle, or bus. It is clear that these new waterfront projects have already brought more visitors to our shores, even before they have been completed. The city must be proactive in providing the infrastructure necessary to access these projects. Otherwise, the onslaught of new visitors will make it more difficult any changes to the North Shore's transportation network, and may, through periods of long delayed construction, render less appealing ferry projects that draw the visitors in. Build a gymnasium for PS21. For too long, PS21 has not had a gymnasium to allow children a place to exercise, to learn cooperation and sportsmanship. At a time when cities vowed policy is to ensure that our children get proper nutrition and ample exercise, the lack of a gymnasium is a mark against the Department of Education, which the city must correct. And to make matters worse, urban outdoor recreational areas that children could use have been destroyed as an aftermath of the Bayonne Bridge raising project. Construct the promenade to protect against storm surge, and to provide public waterfront access between Lighthouse Point and Fort Wadsworth. Community Board 1 believes funding a promenade to harden and protect the coastline, providing waterfront access in front of the Bay Street Landing, Shore Acres, Alice Austin Beach, Laurel Beach, and other areas susceptible to flooding, whether privately or publicly owned, is important to ensure that both commercial and residential properties can quickly recover following a major storm. Community Board 1 asks that you support our request to create a plan for the hardening of the shoreline in order to protect both established and future projects in the area. Improve the infrastructure along major corridors in preparation for growing business and residential population. Community Board 1 is requesting the infrastructure improvements, both the street and the sewer bridge along the major corridors such as Forest Avenue, Forestry Avenue, Richmond Terrace, and Victory Boulevard, to be able to absorb the impact of increased use. And we especially request capital improvements within the Bay Street corridor, including schools and expanded funding for our hospitals. We respectfully request your support so that together we can guarantee the future success of the North Shore. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, sure. Okay. Thank you, Tony.
Next time, take it forward.
Next year, it's time to go now.
Okay, Staten Island Full Water.
Thank you. Not expected to be up so soon. I am not Carolyn Clark. When I arrived at her home this morning, I found that Dr. Clark was in bed with a fever, and I did you a pass there for everyone. However, she asked me as a member of the Philharmonic's Board of Trustees, directors, to come and speak to you on her behalf. The letter explains itself. I do draw your attention to the 3 starred items in the second paragraph. The discretionary allocations from each of you for the Philharmonic for fiscal year 2019. 2017 will help us fund 2 teaching artists for our mentoring program that reaches approximately 100 music students at Port Richmond High School. 2 teaching artists for our orchestra, the Orchestra Sings Music Education Partnership with Carnegie Hall at PS 65, and expansion of the Orchestra Sings program at Public School 18. In addition to those programs, we do 6 free admission outdoor summer concerts for all Staten Islanders throughout the borough. The rest of it is self-explanatory. Do any of you have questions?
Anybody have any questions? I don't know if you know, I'm sure that she did it though. She submitted the online application, funding application for these?
Yes, she did.
Okay.
But she is asking now, please, to,
Okay.
yeah.
To drive the message home.
Yes.
Okay.
That's- Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Financials. Are you doing indentations?
I didn't come with a prepared statement. I can say something.
If you'd like to say something, you can.
Okay. Say it from here? Or?
Yes.
Okay. Mark Hogan from Neighborhood Housing Services of Staten Island. And so historically what we have done has been helping low and moderate income families become homeowners, first-time homebuyer education, connecting them to the subsidies in the city that help them purchase a home. And then we also do a lot of work with those who are facing foreclosure. So we are really one of the top performers in terms of Staten Island, working with homeowners that are facing foreclosure. Working with the courts, in fact, is one of our counselors is at the courthouse almost every day, working with clients there, and is very friendly with the judges, and they have a good relationship. So, so we've had a very successful track record with foreclosure prevention. We also do something called home maintenance training, where once a person has a home, then we provide them with basic skills to do home repairs, to understand what they can and cannot do, and also if they're hiring a contractor, to know what to look for, you know, to make sure that they're not getting scammed or taken advantage of. And we've been doing all of these things for quite a long time, as well as low interest lending and providing grants for home improvement. The thing that we're really excited about, that I want to spend a little time talking this morning about, is our Green and Healthy Homes initiative. It is a program that grew out of our initial involvement with redevelopment of Markham Gardens. You're all familiar with the nice housing project that was redeveloped. We were the nonprofit partner in that development. And that development is Silver LEED certified, has one of the highest possible ratings in terms of energy efficiency and low carbon footprint. We became a partner with the City Council on a program called Retrofit NYC Block by Block. And that was a number of years ago. Out of that, we were able to get the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority to declare an energy target zone in the adjacent areas around Markham Gardens. After a couple of years of successfully helping homeowners retrofit their homes for energy efficiency, then we became a contractor with the statewide Green Jobs Green New York. And so we have been doing that for almost 4 years now, and have been probably very fortunate to be one of the highest performing CBOs, community-based organizations, helping local residents get their homes retrofitted for energy efficiency. What we started noticing throughout all of this work with what we call our EnergyWise program was that quite often the auditors would go into the home and they could not complete an audit because there was some kind of a health factor. There was some kind of a risk that they were unable to do the audit because this problem had to be mitigated first. So that got us to start thinking about there has to be a way to remove those barriers so that people can then get the home retrofitted for energy efficiency. Well, we started looking into a program that is really getting a lot of traction nationwide now, called the Healthy Homes, or Green and Healthy Homes movement. And what this does is it connects not only doing an assessment of the home in terms of its energy efficiency, but also doing an assessment of the health and safety issues that are in the home. Things that might cause slips and falls, things that would cause perhaps chronic asthma attacks, asbestos, lead paint, all of the things that are toxic to to humans and would cause not only chronic health issues, would also prevent us from doing the energy efficiency work. So the last year we have really launched a Green and Healthy Homes program. We're working with the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative out of Baltimore. They're a nationwide organization that has currently 17 official sites around the U.S. They don't have one in New York City, so we would be the first one to be an official GHHI site. There are a number of others that are in the process of onboarding as we are. So during this last year, we have begun to develop a coalition of other nonprofit organizations, healthcare providers, contractors that do all this work, because the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative really is an integrated, holistic approach to doing the interventions through a single application. Quite often people, especially low and moderate income folks who have, they work all the time, they have so many obligations, they're unable to deal with all the different agencies and applications because all of these different programs work in silos. GHHI, through one single application, and then it's our job to bring together all the players to make sure the assessment's done, all the mitigations are done on the home, including the retrofit, and then inspection to make sure that everything is done properly, as well as education and how to maintain the home in a green and healthy way after you're finished. So during the last year, I was going to say, we have managed to do 35 Green and Healthy Homes upgrades. And through a combination of a grant program that we have through the New York State Affordable Housing Corporation, and are still involved with Green Jobs, Green New York, through a combination of private investment from homeowners, subsidies from NYSERDA, and grant support from Affordable Housing Corp, we've been able to leverage over $500,000 in economic activity for homeowners in Staten Island. So we're looking to expand the program, looking to fully launch it. And so we do have a request to the City Council regarding that. But we also want to get on the Borough President's radar, because we feel like that with his health and wellness agenda, we feel like this would be a nice component for him to consider. So that's one of the things that we wanted to request, is just to get a meeting with the Borough President to be able to discuss this program.
Okay, all right, we can speak after the meeting. I can take your contact information. Does anybody have any questions?
Does the gardens have any solar energy?
I beg pardon?
The gardens on Broadway, do they have solar energy?
No solar energy.
Do you support, I'm impressed, do you support solar energy?
In fact is, right now we have a program that we're working with. We received funding from Richmond County Savings Foundation of the Green Challenge, and we got funding to do a solar project, which they usually give enough money to do one project. But by working with a nonprofit that they actually provide the solar with a little bit of sweat equity from the family and a small investment, we were able to take $20,000, and we're turning it into 12 different solar projects. We have 6 already finished, and we're hoping to complete an additional 6. So we're very interested in solar, because the idea is not only reduce, but produce, to have the biggest bang for energy efficiency in the home.
I understand so far they're only doing one-family homes?
Yeah, currently, yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
And your request to the city council is an initiative request?
Right, yeah.
And what's the amount?
10,000. Well, we requested 15,000.
15,000. And did you send us a copy of the submitted application?
You should have a copy. I'll check when I get home.
Okay.
Get back to you.
And then my other question we can do offline, but I'd really like an update on the situation with the building and NHS of New York City.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you. No other presentations? Okay, so I am just going to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting to the evening session
So
tonight.
moved.
Okay, all in favor? Okay,